anthem, this night's not set. Guitar riffs soar like eagles in flight. We're the queens of the night, ready for the fight. Piledriver Pulse, the power ignites. Feel the rush, it's time to take flight. Hearts ablaze with a fire so bright. In this arena, we own the night.
What is going on, Misfit Nation? Welcome back. Yes, a very long time since I've done one of these podcasts. Recorded edition. No camera or anything like that. I'm going to go back to the old ways of doing things for a little bit. But the cameras and live streams will be able to come back soon, as I'm not currently using my main PC because it's in a box somewhere because I'm in the process of moving. I've had a lot of things happen this year with us moving, and then my mom unfortunately passing away. So we've had a lot of things happen here. We're still working on some stuff there, but I will hopefully be back with the normal way of doing things with the camera and the chat and all that cool stuff here. But I'm going to try to get this stuff set up back the way it was. This is a Piledriver Pulse episode. The first one, I believe. No, it's not the first one. It's the first one since I want to say January, since we've done one of these. But we're going to do some previews and predictions for two big shows. As you guys know, nothing is changing when it comes to me covering AEW. That's going to be a completely different thing on its own. So stay tuned for that one when it's on one of these things when I get to do the Piledriver Pulse. When it's not a big weekend for professional wrestling. And then we got Wrestlepalooza, which I will be reviewing hopefully this Saturday. And then I'm going to go straight into watching Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Princess 6, which we will be covering on hopefully at some point we're going to be covering on the Joshi podcast that we started with Blitz and a few of my new friends. The Joshi Cyber Squad podcast, which is going to be going back and forth on both our channels. So first episode, 5 hours long, up on that. I know it was 5 hours long, but we had a lot of stuff to cover on that show. We covered Momo Watanabe winning the 5-star Grand Prix. We covered at the time it was the predictions for the Dream Star. We will cover Miku Ano winning the Dream Star tournament and the two first matches for Grand Destiny. And Io Sky, who we'll be talking about a little bit later, is going to be a big part of that show, potentially. That's going to be covered on sometime this week, I want to say. Maybe if we'll try to do some type of not Grand Princess, Wrestle Princess type of watch along or something. We'll see. Stay tuned for that stuff as well as the upcoming Stardom stuff as well. So, stay tuned for all that stuff. But, you know what you could do here? I know it sounds like we're going through a outro. We're not. By the way, speaking of intros, you hear the new kick-ass theme song that was made for the Piledriver Pulse, brand new song, not by Yumi Nakamura. She will be handling some new stuff for me. They are going to be creating they've already made it. It's a theme song for the Joshi Cyber Squad. I've heard the song. It's fantastic. She's doing some touch-ups of it, and if all goes well tomorrow, I get to release it on the Joshi Cyber Squad podcast Twitter page a few hours before Wrestle Princess, so that should be pretty good. So stay tuned for that. But you can still follow me on Piledriver Pulse on Twitter. I'm verified on Twitter, by the way. Yep. Big W for me. You can do longer posts, edit posts, which I still think should be free. but that's just me. You can also, if you want to, follow the other social media outlet of Instagram, which is, I believe it's Misfit Wrestling Pod. I could be wrong. And then also, I think I have a Blue Sky. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've done a podcast. Forgive me. A solo podcast, that is. Yeah. So that should be a lot of fun here. Stuff like that. A lot of things happened in the world of wrestling for the past few months. CM Punk is main eventing shows. He's more of a full timer now. AJ Lee is back. We're going to cover AJ Lee when we get to the Wrestlepalooza. It still sounds very, very weird to say Wrestlepalooza when you know that's an ECW thing. Excuse me if you hear a little sips and stuff. I'm using a laptop and I got a drink next to me, so excuse me there. So let's get into AEW. We got this is the name of the show, Piledriver Pulse. We have technically have, I'm trying to think here, give me a second. I want to say 13 matches, if you count the pre-show. If not, I believe 10. It's 10 matches total on the main card. If you want to count the pre-show, that's 13. Last few weeks, I've not kept up on AEW. At least the past 2 weeks. My thing with AEW here is, people seem to think with the way I talk about them on Twitter is that I hate AEW. I want them to burn or whatever it is. No, it's quite opposite. There's just things about the show I cannot stand. It's just, I'm over the whole Death Rider stuff. We're still going, this faction is still going on, even though you would have thought the All In Texas was the end of the Death Riders. It was not, unfortunately. So, that was kind of shitty in so many ways there. So we'll see on that here. I still enjoy Timeless Toni Storm. She's great. I do love the quote she said about counter programming, because originally All Out was supposed to take place at the same time as Wrestlepalooza. Despite what Tony Khan says that he did it for the wrestling fans, even though we know for a fact he did it because he caved in with the whole thing with Wrestlepalooza happening the same day as All Out, excuse me. So, what I loved about her response, I forgot who she was interviewed by, but she said that, I love it. I love counter programming. Just basically, it's her way of saying, who cares? Enjoy both or not. Stop picking sides. So I don't know how I'm gonna watch All In or not All Out this weekend. I'll find a way. Maybe I'll use my trusty NordVPN to possibly get it cheaper. I'm not paying $40 on HBO Max. I feel like if you are subscribed to HBO, you should get it. Like, you're already paying for this is the issue I had with oh my god, what was it? There was a streaming service. Okay, so this is alright. So I'll use this as an example. So I'm using Wrestle Universe, right? Wrestle Universe, you get the live streams, right? But then you'd still have to pay for like a pay-per-view, which is like, I don't understand that. It's kind of like the same thing here with HBO. You got your streaming service for HBO, and then you have to pay extra for content you should just already have. Which is just really stupid, but that's just me. So, which I found out if you switch over your virtual location from, if you're living in the States or wherever you go, and you switch over to the United Kingdom, you can purchase on Triller for, I believe it's $25, pay-per-views, which I believe, I don't know what I don't think I did anything for TNA, but I did do, I did do All In, I did Forbidden Door, I don't think I did Double or Nothing. I think I watched that some other way. So we'll see. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out when we get to the pay-per-view on Saturday. When it's time there. Special start time, 3 Eastern. I believe there's a 3 Eastern. I think that may be the main card. I could be wrong, or I'll have to look. But anyways, so we had, like I said, 10 matches on the main card, 3 on the pre-show. Technically, it's 4. I guess they might add more depending on what happens on Collision. I think Collision's happening this Saturday. No, actually, Collision's not happening this Saturday. What am I talking about? Because, Collision. Okay, never mind. Forget I said anything about Collision. Collision is not actually. Did Collision happen already? Did it happen today? I'll have to look. But if there isn't, whatever. We could say anything. Haha. So, we're going to start things off here with an 8-woman tornado tailgate brawl, whatever that means. I don't even know why they're calling it a tailgate, but that's basically Tony Khan's way of saying, I'm not doing a blood and guts women's match, so stop asking. We got Harley Cameron, Mina Shirakawa, Queen Aminata, and Willow Nightingale. They're going to be taking on the team of Megan Bayne, Penelope Ford, Julia Hart, and Sky Blue, which is the Triangle of Madness group, which is with Tekla. I think they might have just canned the whole Hounds of Hell, formerly known as House of Black situation. Like Malachi Black, now going by Aleister Black, he went back to WWE, and which I haven't got to talk about yet. But then Buddy Matthews had that match with Okada in Australia when the Grand Slam got hurt. I think he had surgery on it. He's still recovering from it, and now Brody King went off to do his own thing with Bandito, having killer matches with Bandito as a tag team. Now they're tag team champions. Which Brodito I should be putting on there for tag team of the year on that list. And then Julia Hart went off to do something with Tekla and Sky Blue. So there's that. But I'm going to go with the babyface team of Mina Shirakawa, Queen Aminata, Willow Nightingale, and Harley Cameron. I don't have a particular reason why. I love Mina. Who doesn't love Mina? Everybody wants Mina. Willow, I like Willow. Queen, I'm not really that big much of a fan of Queen Aminata. I know a lot of people are. But she's alright. But I wouldn't put her in my top 5. I wouldn't put her in my top 20, if that makes sense. And I enjoy Harley Cameron's comedic stuff there. So there's that. But I do like a majority of the people involved here. I love me some Megan Bayne. She grew on me during, you guys should know, I covered me covering Stardom for how long I do. Which, by the way, I want to point out that portion of stuff, me doing like Stardom reviews and stuff like that, that's not going to go anywhere. That's still going to happen on my channel. But when we do the podcast for Joshi's Cyber Squad, we're going to talk about all that stuff. So same thing with Blitz. He's going to continue to do his previews and predictions and all that stuff for that. So and reviews and stuff. I'm going to do the same thing. So that's not going away. So just let you know. But like I said, Megan Bain, she grew on me in her time at Stardom, with especially at first I wasn't feeling her, and then she had her team with Micah, and then that killer match with Julia at Dream Kingdom last year. No, it wasn't last year. It was 2023, because Julia was still was in WWE last year. What am I talking about? She was in NXT. She was a NXT women's. Nope, she wasn't the NXT Women's champion yet. Daniel Garcia, who unfortunately joined the Death Riders, so my interest in Daniel Garcia, even though I didn't have any to begin with, went down even further. He's going to be taking on Katsuyori Shibata for whatever reason. I mean, I enjoyed the first match, the one they had in Ring of Honor a few years ago. I think it was the Pure Championship. I think Shibata had won the title from Daniel Garcia on that show. I cannot remember for the life of me. But Daniel Garcia is going to get the win here. Obviously, he just turned heel to join the Death Riders, and I don't see them doing a heel turn and then him losing his first match as a member of the Death Riders. It would have been weird to do that. We got the Ops, which is still a shitty ass name for a team. Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs taking on the Workhorsemen for whatever reason. So I'm going to go with Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs to get the win there. I believe they are 1/3 of the Trios champions. Who else is in that group? Oh, Shibata. Then we found out earlier today by Tony Khan, who was on the media call, that Edge and Christian. Yes, I'm gonna keep calling him Edge. I'm not calling him Adam Copeland. Okay, come on now. Edge and Christian will have their first pay-per-view. Their first match in Canada as a tag team for the first time in like 20 years. I think they said. They're going to be taking on FTR. I can tell right now, from what I saw, this build has been horrible. I believe a few weeks ago, they had Cash Wheeler argue with the crowd, and Dax couldn't talk because the microphone was acting up and all that stuff. So, this originally, a lot of us really thought this match was going to be a tag title match, and then FTR lost at Forbidden Door because the Hurt Business doesn't want to put people over, apparently. Like, whatever. I don't know their issue with FTR, whatever. But it's Toronto. I believe they're both from Toronto. I know Edge is from Toronto, I think. And actually, they're both from Toronto, Ontario. So, I think it's going to be a home field win for Edge and Christian. ENC, I would pop if they do the 5-second pose for the first time in many years. That'd be pretty cool. So I'm going to go with Edge and Christian to get the win there over FTR, and, well, there's that. Speaking of the Hurt Syndicate, for whatever reason, the tag team... Oh, no, they're not the tag team champions anymore. What am I talking about? Because they lost the tag titles to Brodito at Forbidden Door, which was a surprise. MVP, for whatever reason, is getting in the ring. in a trios match. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin are going to be taking on Ricochet and the Gates of Agony. Who cares? I don't. I'm going to go with the Hurt Syndicate to get the win here. I have no reason to care about the Gates of Agony. I've never cared about the Gates of Agony. So, yeah. And my caring for Ricochet has went down even further since joining AEW. TBS Championship is on the line. Mercedes Moné, who apparently continues to be handed championships after championships after championships. I did love the fact that she tweeted out that I was talking to TJPW by coming in, and I've heard nothing since, or whatever it was, and I basically said, well, that's Tej telling you to F off. She's taking on the returning Rio, which, how funny is that? That WWE brings back AJ Lee, they bring in the big guns, they use pull the fire alarm for Riho. I would love for Riho to win the championship here, but I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately. Because I don't know. They have this infatuation with it, Mercedes having all these titles. So I'm unfortunately going to go with Mercedes to win and retain against Riho. Hopefully it's a good match. I like Riho. Love Riho. She had one of my favorite matches a few years ago in AEW against Serenity for the NWA Women's Championship on Double or Nothing. So that was pretty good. We have Darby Allin versus Jon Moxley in a coffin match. Somebody's going to probably die in this match. We'll probably get blood and all this stuff here. On Dynamite, Bryan Danielson whispered something into Darby's ear. Don't know what it was. We'll find out. We'll probably find out on Saturday. I'm gonna go with Darby Allin win here. Jon Moxley doesn't need the win. But I wouldn't put it past me if AEW had Moxley win. Speaking of Bryan Danielson, he's officially full-time on the commentary team, which I think is pretty cool. So we'll see what happens in that realm of things. So we'll see. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Darby Allin. I almost said retention, like as if it was a damn championship match. Darby Allin for the win. Which should set up for a future, because I think, because we're talking about MJF next, because he's on this card here. I think MJF is going to eventually actually officially cash in his championship. I'll save that for the end of the show, because I think Darby Allin beating MJF for the championship, and we'll talk about that in a second. Mark Briscoe versus MJF in a tables and thumbtacks match. I don't know why any of this is important, but I guess it is. They've had an MJF feud that I don't care about. I love Mark Briscoe. Don't really care for MJF, but Mark Briscoe is going to get the win here because I think MJF is going to get involved in the main event later on that night. And I'll explain that in a little bit. Timeless Tony Storm is going to defend in a 4-way for the Women's Championship. Jamie Hayter, Chris Statlander, Tekla. Funny enough, a couple of years ago, All Out 2022, I think it was 2022, we had a fatal 4-way for the vacant Women's Championship after Thunder Rosa couldn't compete. It was, and funny enough, the same people in that match, the two same people in that match was Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm. I'm trying to remember who the other fourth person was. I know it was, let me look here. I know that in let's see. I know the other one. I know one of them was Sheeta, but I'm trying to remember who that fourth one was. It was, let me look here. It was Britt Baker. So it was Britt Baker, Toni Storm, Jamie Hayter, and Sheeta. And Toni Storm ended up winning the match. So I think that's pretty funny. Not funny, but interesting that Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter, once again at All Out, is in a four-way for the Women's Championship. I would love to see Jamie Hayter win it, but Jamie Hayter's been on and off television for the past number of months. I know she was out for a long period of time with an injury, but most recently she's been off here. I would love to see Kip Statlander win it, but I don't know if she's going to. Tekla, maybe. I have a love-hate relationship with Tekla, wrestling-wise. I just personally don't see the appeal of her as a pro wrestler. Even in Stardom, I didn't think her matches were that memorable in Stardom, if that makes sense. But I'm gonna go with a Toni Storm retention here. Because if I think I think Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter should have a singles match to determine that, because obviously, if you know your history, Toni Storm, who was a heel at the time with the Outcasts, beat Jamie Hayter to win the Women's Championship. So you would think that Jamie Hayter should beat Toni Storm 1-on-1. So that's just how I feel there. We have a fatal four-way ladder match for the AEW Tag Team titles. We have Brodito, the defending champions, Brody King and Bandito, also who is the Ring of Honor World Champion, who had a great match with Hechicero. Fantastic match at Ring of Honor's Death Before Dishonor. I think it was Death Before Dishonor. I think it was the name of the show. They're going to be taking on the Young Bucks, Jet Speed, which is Kevin Knight, and Speedball Mike Bailey, which I'm glad Speedball's doing some stuff. Speaking of Hechicero and Josh Alexander. This is a tough one because I could see the Young Bucks win the titles back, but they're doing a great job with this every week being like, they're going through Generation Me and all the other characters that they had and gimmicks, which I thought was, I'm still waiting for them to call them the Cucamonga Kids, which would be hilarious, but which is, they didn't want to lose. This is another thing that hurts Syndicate. They didn't want to lose the Speedball Mike Bailey for whatever reason. I'm gonna go with a Brodito retention here. I think this has got plans for Brody King and Bandito. I can absolutely see Bandito. I can see Bandito being in the C2, but Brody King is going to be in the C2 because he's always in the C2. So there's that. A match that was randomly announced on social media. Billy Kid, Big Bill, is going to be taking on the returning Eddie Kingston. I don't care. Nothing against Eddie Kingston. Nothing against Big Bill. This is just something for Eddie Kingston to get his first win. Who cares? That's all I have to say about that. Then we got a three-way for the AEW Unified Championship, which is a shitty ass name for it. They should have just called it they could have just kept calling it the AEW International Champion. Or they could have just called it the AEW Intercontinental Championship. It's Kazuchika Okada defending against the G1 Climax winner, Konosuke Takeshita and Mascara Dorada. Okada's not losing the title here. He's going to pin Dorada, protecting Takeshita, because Takeshita, I believe next month, is challenging Zack Sabre Jr. for the IWGP World Title, and I think they're going to put the title on Takeshita. Takeshita, I think, is going to walk into Wrestle Kingdom to defend his belt against Joshi. But I'm going to save that discussion for a whole new day. And then the main event, AEW World Championship is on the line. If any member of the Don Callis family gets involved, Fletcher will be disqualified and be stripped of his AEW TNT Championship. It's Hangman Adam Page versus Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher's not winning this championship or this match. That's just how it is. Hangman Page is going to retain. I still don't think a mid-card champion should be in the main event for World Title. I don't think Kyle Fletcher's quite ready for that yet. But here's what I said about MJF. MJF apparently still has that contract thing, right? I think MJF is going to cash in at the end of the night officially to win the championship, and then we're going to go to Wrestle Dream, which is the very next pay-per-view, which is where's Wrestle Dream at? Yeah. In St. Louis, where he will defend the championship against Darby Allin, and that's when I think Darby Allin is going to win the AEW World Championship. So yeah, those are my previews and predictions for AEW All Out. I will I will review the show the next time I do a Piledriver Pulse, which is going to be next week sometime. So stay tuned for that here. But switching over to a show that I am going to be covering after the show is over with, which is the very first WWE Wrestlepalooza. Yes, the same Wrestlepalooza that was held by ECW back in the day. This is going to be the first Wrestlepalooza pay-per-view event since 2000. It wasn't a pay-per-view. It was a TV special for ECW and TNN, which is quite funny that this was and ECW Hardcore TV. The funny thing, the main event of that show, the main event of the Hardcore TV version portion was Danny Doring and Roadkill defeating the FBI. But then the stuff that was on ECW television, the main event was a street fight between the Sandman, Tommy Dreamer, and New Jack, and they defeated the network of Steve Corino, Jack Victory, and Yoshihiro Tajiri. So that was Wrestlepalooza, and it was in ECW. So yeah, I will say this before I get into the card for Wrestlepalooza. I will say this. Before I get into the card for Wrestlepalooza, I will say this. I love that WWE is bringing back some of the old pay-per-view names. So this year alone, we've had Night of Champions. We've had No Mercy. We've had Battleground, which was a weird. Whatever. Howling and Havoc, obviously, they're doing that. The Greater Back Bash was brought back as a main pay-per-view for NXT. There was another one that they did. Oh, Heatwave. NXT's got Heatwave. So I do love that how that NXT and the main roster now have ECW pay-per-views, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. But we have a total of 5 matches. One that's going to be announced on SmackDown tomorrow because the stupid people in charge of the Wrestlepalooza store in Indianapolis has a match graphic on one of the shirts for a women's championship match. We'll talk about that in a second. I might as well talk about it. Well, actually, I'll go through the match that was announced today as the opening match for Wrestlepalooza, which was confirmed by Pat McAfee on the Pat McAfee show earlier today, and then was later confirmed by ESPN. This is going to be the first WWE pay-per-view to be broadcast on the ESPN streaming service. If you are living in the United States, it would be $30 a month. Or if you're like me, who's not going to pay for ESPN and you want to watch it on Netflix, use your trusty NordVPN, change your virtual location to Canada, the United Kingdom, Japan, South Korea, wherever. You can use, great folks at Fightful for encouraging me to get NordVPN. Now I can watch NXT on Netflix because my cable company decided to drop the CW from our service for whatever fucking reason. And then SmackDown, what I love about the NordVPN app is I can just watch my shows, my Raw, SmackDown, NXT without commercials. Hallelujah. But today, John Cena versus Brock Lesnar was announced as the opening match. Yes. Joe Tessitore a few days ago kind of said that they were main eventing, even though neither ESPN or WWE, confirmed that was going to be the main event. From my understanding, this was never planned to be the main event. We'll talk about what match is going to be main eventing the show. I'm going with a John Cena win here. He's in the middle of his retirement tour. We wasted 2 matches of John Cena's retirement tour on Logan Paul and Brock Lesnar. We're probably not getting a AJ Styles match, so I'm kind of upset about that. John Cena obviously is going to will be retiring in December 13th on Saturday night's main event on Peacock, by the way. So Saturday night's main event is now exclusive to Peacock, if you guys didn't know that. Brock Lesnar doesn't need it. Besides, once Brock Lesnar does this show, he's leaving, and he'll be gone for a couple more months to set up whatever his program for WrestleMania 42 is going to be in Vegas next year, so we'll see. We got the Usos versus the Visions, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. I'm going to go with the Vision here to get the win here. I don't think the Usos need it. I'm just glad the Usos are back as a tag team, because the tag team division freaking needs something on Raw. I'm glad that Jey Uso's grabbing the tag rope again, but Braun Breaker's great, Bronson Reed's great. I think they're much better without Seth Rollins. We'll talk about Seth Rollins a little bit later, but yeah, I think the Vision are gonna get the win here for that one, and it's gonna be the only win for the Vision for the rest of the night. We got Cody Rhodes defending the WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre. This match is not main eventing the show, by the way. Cody Rhodes is going to retain here. I don't see a reason for them to just immediately take the title off of Cody Rhodes. I love Drew McIntyre. I would love to see Drew McIntyre get a proper run with a championship, but the person I think is going to take the title off of Cody Rhodes is not even on SmackDown. So that's just how I see it there. Should be a great match, though. Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes, I think will be a great match, though. A match I know is going to steal the show. Actually, before we get to that, let's talk about that's not officially announced yet, but it depends on whether or not Tiffany Stratton is cleared. It's Tiffany Stratton defending the Women's Championship against Nia Jax and Tiffany and Jade Cargill. WWE said this show is missing this triple threat match that no one was asking for. And I said, no, we're not. This is where a match like Asuka versus Rhea could be on, or whatever. But it's not. So if that match is taking place, I do think that Tiffany Stratton, unfortunately, is going to retain the championship. A match I know is going to steal the show is for the vacant women's championship. So the story here is Io Sky went into Evolution as the defending champion, had that incredible classic match with Rhea Ripley, which is on the match of the year list, along with her triple threat match at WrestleMania, including Bianca. Which, by the way, I want to point out my report that I had on the match of Io Rhea being a thing was correct. It happened. But anyways, Naomi won Money in the Bank, cashed in, became the women's champion, had the triple threat match at SummerSlam, retained, and then she disappeared because she decided to have Big Jim, not proceed with caution. So now they're gonna have a child, and she had to vacate the championship. So here we are. It's Io Sky versus Stephanie Vaquera. Now, why did these two have the match at WrestlePalooza? Well, originally Stephanie Vaquera was going to challenge Naomi for the title at Clash in Paris, which I would have assumed that Stephanie Vaquera was going to win and the title. I didn't see any reason for Naomi to retain, if I'm being honest. And so, instead of doing the match at Clash, they pushed the match to WrestlePalooza, and Stephanie Vaquera is going to be taking on Io Sky. Now, how does Io Sky get a match? Well, she was supposed to get a championship one-on-one rematch with Naomi, and obviously that didn't happen because the whole pregnancy thing. So here we are with this match here. They don't have a winner right now in the program because their last two matches ended in chicanery and a double disqualification. I think Stephanie Vaquera is going to walk away with the championship because they've kind of made it very clear. They set it up on Raw multiple times that Asuka said she wants to help Io win the championship, and I know Io on Raw said, "I don't want your help." Well, that's when I know it's not going to work out because Asuka's going to help her anyways, and unintentionally cost Io the match. Rhea's going to come out to try to stop Asuka. It's going to backfire on both of them. And Io's going to unfortunately get the SPV on her, and Stephanie is going to pin her. It'll be the first pinfall loss. It'll be the first clean. No, it wouldn't be clean. I've noticed this, by the way. Somebody's pointing out this is the first. Io hasn't had a clean pinfall loss since WrestleMania, I think. Last year. Nope. Since the match with Liv Morgan in December of last year, which is impressive. Internally, then it's going to set up a match that I've heard is being discussed, which is a tag match between Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus the Kabuki Warriors in Perth, which is then going to write off Io Shirai for. Well, not yet. It's not going to write her off yet because they're going to do the Japan tour. They can write her off they can film something for like a week prior before they head to Japan. Actually, no, they can, yeah. Excuse me, I'm sorry for yawning here. I think they can film something there, because I think, so Io's gonna do the Japan tour. She's gonna stick around for an extra week. She is planned as of right now to wrestle Mayu Iwatani at the Marty Gold Grand Destiny show. And so they're gonna do all that, and Io can't win the championship if she's gonna do that. So they gotta set that up here. Stephanie Vicor is gonna hold the championship for a little bit. Either win it or either lose it to Io near the end of the year, or Rhea Ripley. I do think we're either heading for an Io Asuka WrestleMania match or an Io Rhea match at WrestleMania. I don't know. We'll see. But I do think Rhea. I do think Io and Stephanie are going to be involved with each other going into at least Survivor Series, because I do think it's going to be Team Io versus Team Asuka in War Games. Because I think on the babyface team it's going to be Io, Rhea, Stephanie, and Lyra versus the heel team of Asuka, Kairi, Roxanne, and you could do Roxanne and Raquel, but I think it's going to be Roxanne and Bayley on that end of things there. So I'm going to go with Stephanie Vicor to win the women's championship. And then she'll have a match with Asuka too, because they kind of set that up as well. So there's that. And eventually we get the Asuka Rhea match as well. And the match is going to be the main event of the show. It would be CM Punk's. Let's see. Let me look here. Let's see. We got Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, Elimination Chamber. What was the other show? Night Champion, SummerSlam, Clash. So this would be his 7th main event, which is more than Roman Reigns has had this year. He will be teaming with the returning AJ Lee, who is, I'm very happy is back, to take on Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. This is AJ Lee's first match in over 10 years. It was the perfect setting for her to come back here. Obviously, AJ Lee and CM Punk can get the win here. It would be dumb for AJ to lose her first match back. I think AJ Lee is going to pin Becky Lynch to set up a Intercontinental Championship match. I don't know if they're going to do that in Perth. I think they'll hold that off for Survivor Series. I would personally hold off to do that match at a big show like Survivor Series, because Survivor Series this year is in a stadium. I forget what stadium it's in San Diego. I do know that's the first outdoor Survivor Series, and it's the first baseball stadium show for Survivor Series. So I would do that match there. And do I have AJ win the title from Becky Lynch? Well, that's interesting, because Becky is doing a fantastic job with the championship, so I don't know. But I'm sure we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I think CM Punk, not AJ, I think Becky is going to hit, or he's going to taste a GTS courtesy of CM Punk. They probably enough have teased this type of thing here. And Becky Lynch is not afraid to get beaten up by a guy on pay-per-view. She let Baron Corbin hit her with the end of days. I don't see why not. I don't see why she wouldn't be opposed to having CM Punk pick her up with the GTS. So there's that. But But that is basically, and if you hear snoring, I apologize. The dog over here, Mika, is snoring like crazy, so I'm trying not to have that huge thing not be loud here. So there's that. So I apologize. Now, let's see. Now, that is my previews and predictions for that show, for those two shows here. Like I said, I will be here Saturday night to cover Wrestlepalooza. Go over that quickly, and then I'm going to watch Wrestle Princess on Wrestle Universe. There was a few changes to that card, as you know. My buddy Blitzball's got you covered if you want to check out what's changed on that show. So there's that. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about here? Oh yeah, the TNA NXT stuff. So I watched NXT Homecoming. I thought it was a very, very fun show. Outside of maybe the ending, I love the nostalgia. The roar of the crowd song was the intro. They paid homage to one of the older NXT show intros. DIY had their old music back. A lot of people had their old music back here, which I think is just for one night only. But we had babyface Finn Balor, so that was pretty cool. The main event was Rhea Ripley, who was Rhea Ripley. It was Rhea Ripley, Stephanie Vicare, and Lyra Valkyria versus the Fatal Influence. Originally, it was supposed to be Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton wasn't medically cleared, so Lyra Valkyria took her place. So there's that. But I want to talk about was throughout the show, TNA wrestlers, because they had a segment between Obafemi and Ricky Starks, because they're going to be fighting for the NXT Championship at No Mercy. I believe it's No Mercy. I think that's the show coming up. Anyway, so Jerk Williams comes out because he's apparently the TNA champion for whatever reason. And then they decide to announce a TNA versus title for title. Obafemi's defending his title against Trick Williams, who would also put his title on the line. The interesting part about this is throughout the night we had a bunch of TNA wrestlers tweet their displeasure about, oh, this is getting an odd hand. I'm tired of WWE doing this and that with TNA and whatever. And then it's a TNA, it's a WWE guy versus a WWE guy with a TNA championship on the line or whatever, right? So I was like, oh, this is weird that they're doing it. And then commentary throughout the entire night, Vic Joseph several times mentioned it, brought it up, and I'm like, oh, so I see what they're doing here. They're setting a big invasion angle, which I thought would have been perfect for the end of the Homecoming show. No, they're going to do that at possibly next week. There was some of that tonight on TNA on Impact because we had Ridge Holland show up to attack Mike Santana, and there might have been some other stuff out of the look, but I said, if people want to do this brand warfare stuff, if they really want brand warfare back, the best bet to actually do a brand warfare is doing two wrestling companies going against each other. Why not do TNA versus NXT as Survivor Series? You don't even have to be War Games. It can be War Games. But just do something cool. We'll see. Let's see. But I'm intrigued to see where this goes. I'm intrigued to see where this goes. So we'll see. But I don't think I have anything else to add regarding Wrestlepalooza and All Out. I'll see you guys tomorrow for SmackDown. I will be covering SmackDown. Or at least, I might cover SmackDown if SmackDown don't suck, because it's not been the greatest show in a while. But I will be back here Saturday night for, hold on a second. Wait, what am I did I mention that I was going to talk about Wrestlepalooza and then Wrestle Universe's Wrestle Princess? No, Wrestle Princess will be on sometime after SmackDown. Forget what I said there. No, I'll be able to cover Wrestlepalooza at any point that night on Saturday. My bad. My bad. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to add. I miss doing these things here. We're going to try to do something possibly for Wrestle Princess on Blitz's channel. We'll see. But we'll do some stuff for some of the Joshi stuff. Hopefully we'll talk about Mikuano challenging Utami after winning the Dream Star, and what other matches might be added to Grand Destiny. Some more Stardom stuff here. We got another winner take us all match going on over there with Azumi and so we'll see on what happens there. But I don't think I have anything else to add. Like I said, I'll be back here for Wrestlepalooza on Saturday night, and we'll see whether or not WWE disappoints me or whatever. So we'll see. But yeah, you can follow me. Same thing as always. Piledriver Pulse on Twitter, Misfit Wrestling Pod on Instagram. You can follow the Joshi Cyber Squad podcast at Joshi Cyber Squad on Twitter. All that stuff here. We'll hopefully get that stuff set up schedule wise for episode 2. And yeah, until then, I've been Matt the Misfit. This has been the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. This has been the Piledriver Pulse, the return of the Piledriver Pulse episode, whatever number it is. So yeah. Until then, we're out.
From the shadows we rise, electrified sweat, screaming out the anthem, this night's not set. Guitar riffs soar like eagles in flight. We're the queens of the night, ready for the fight. Piledriver Pulse!